Well, joining us this morning is Senator Cleo Fields. He's the chairman of the State Senate Committee on Education. He is live from his house right now. And of course, he joins us on the heels of the governor's announcement that all public schools will continue distance learning for the rest of the academic year. Good morning, Senator. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, bright and early.
Good morning to you, Kelly. It's good to be with you.
So when did you guys actually become aware that the possibility of kids not returning to the classroom could be a reality?
Well, when the governor issued his initial proclamation, there was discussions among, all of the educational partners as to whether or not it was going to be in the kids' best interest or the state's best interest to return. And as time got closer and the deadline was extended to the 30th, last week there was some very intense conversations with the governor's office as to whether or not it would make sense for the kids to return.
And of course, it's kind of become a little bit of a controversial issue because with the decision, it means that kids are going to miss more than 2 months of classroom instruction. How do we make sure that these kids are actually ready for the next level of their education, especially our more vulnerable populations?
Well, that's a very good point, and that's why the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, along with the superintendents across the several parishes, are doing everything they can do and must do to make sure that that gap, as relates to those kids who are not obtaining that quality level of education, that we continue to provide the most resources we can in this very difficult time. For example, in East Baton Rouge Parish, the East Baton Rouge Parish School System has teamed up with a nonprofit owned by Dana and Jim Bernhardt called Every Kid a King. And so they are going to make absolutely certain that kids in the Baton Rouge area actually have internet access.
Well, that's certainly fabulous. Let's talk a little bit, though, of course, outside of East Baton Rouge Parish. You're looking at about 70% of Louisiana households that have internet access. There's still a huge chunk that don't. Is the state able to do anything additional to help the more rural communities?
No question. Actually, Beth Marzell has a bill in the legislature rather to do just that. And there's a bill that I have, and I think there's going to be a number of federal dollars coming down to the several states. Those monies are going to be designated for access to the internet so that kids who've been locked out for so long will have an opportunity to access broadband, have an access to actually have the devices that are needed. In New Orleans, along their entire school system was issued mobile devices so that they could take advantage of online learning. It's very important. We can't leave kids behind, and we got to do everything we can do to make sure that they have access to quality learning.
Excellent. And then, of course, my last question for you. You talk a lot about leadership. You lead by example, and you did release a statement recently that says leadership extends beyond the physical classroom. What do you mean by that?
Well, because I think we all have a responsibility. I think we make a mistake if we say or feel or take the position that the only learning that takes place with children is inside of the classroom. I think all of us have a responsibility to make sure that kids get a good education. So, I want students to know this is not a vacation. I want you to take this time and I want you to learn. I want you to go online. I want you to read books. I want you to listen to your school systems and follow their instructions. I want parents to be a partner with their kids to make sure, we're in a difficult time, unprecedented time, but that doesn't mean that we can't, that we can't keep learning.
Well, well said. Thank you so much, Senator, for joining us this morning. Stay safe. We hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much, Kelly.